Okay then guys, you join me back here again, and this episode's called Cracking the Autumn Code. Obviously a bit of a disappointing couple of sessions of late, and I've decided to do what I planned to do, although I don't know if it's the right thing. When I turned up, some guy was saying he's just been over on the big lake, and he said, mate, go near the island swim, they're showing. I'm still in two minds. Typical Libra, proper typical Libra moment. I kept coming back and forward and thought I'd better have a look. But what I'm going to do, I've decided to see it out tonight here, because I'm on the spot where 9 times out of 10 fish are early in the morning and in the evening as well. I've heard them around here. And we're going to try the method that I'd done a little teaser about in the last session. Haven't seen one fish show, and I'm like, have I made the right decision? But let's get the marker out, see what's going on around where the fish show, and get the rods out. There's only 2 other people on here, and that's sort of swung it a little bit more for me, because there's 4 or 5, 6 people on the other one, all spread out, and I don't know, I'd rather have this whole bank and that whole bank to myself. Could change at any moment, with the only pressure being totally opposite me. So yeah, the wind's pushing the other margin, so the wind just switched round since we were last here. Still quite high pressure though. Yeah, signs aren't looking great, but hopefully with this different method, at least from what I've been trying, we might see an early bite. Let's see. I'm hopeful. I'm putting it out in the universe. We're going to have a fish before dark, but like I say, first things first, let's see what's going on out there. Okay then guys, so marking around, as you'd expect, it's like a bowl, but it's not as, doesn't feel as sharp as over there. So I don't know, there's a good mix. What I feel like some silt over the right, what will be the right hand rod. Just going to wrap up to know exactly where I am. I think I'm probably about 12 wraps, which is easy with the method that I'm going to be choosing. Just when you do generally so well on a particular swim and you're coming off it, I think that's just my mindset of, am I making the right decision? I haven't seen a fish at all. I don't want to keep banging on about it, but after that bloke's that they're showing over there, no, I want to try this, I want to know. And the way I look at things, this is my first year on this venue, and the more I can suss out and the more I can learn about each lake and what will work. Now I'm going to try something what I feel will probably be very unique to what most anglers try here. And like I said, the amount of times I sit on that swim and there's fish showing in this swim, it's unbelievable, and not many people decide to choose it. No disrespect to any of you guys in the club, most of you don't want to walk around this bit. It is a bit of a treacherous corner. And B, feature wise, it's pretty bland, you know, even underwater features. At least with mine, you've got a bit of weed next to it. There is a bit of weed out there. So what I'm going to do now is figure out, well, wrap up to make sure I'm absolutely bang on these spots. But first of all, I'm going to chuck the weed rake out there and just make sure what I'm feeling is what I'm feeling, and there's not any thick weed. Granted, with the method I'm using, not imperative, I don't think. If there's a bit of low-lying weed, that's okay, but nonetheless, I want to make sure I'm on the clean spot. Do you know what I mean? As I've evolved with my carp fishing, I'm more in tune with where I'm fishing and what I'm fishing on. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's half the battle. Yeah. Fingers crossed. I'm making the right decision. But I'm going to believe, I'm going to put it out in the universe, like I said. We're going to have a fish very early, before dark, and that's going to soothe my little concern. And guys, you might have a 2-for-1 in this episode, because if I get up and by 10 o'clock tomorrow, if I haven't had a bite, I'll certainly be chucking everything on or having a look, make sure no one else has turned up. But if that's the case, I'll be putting a bucket in a swim over there and loading the barrow up. So, at the end of the day, we'll give this a shot. Hopefully we absolutely smash it. I've got a feeling we're going to do alright. And if not, we can always get on the big lake, probably have a mid-40. Okay, just chuck the weed rake around over the 3 spots and look what I've found. Now I am excited. This was about 7.5 wraps on the left rod, so that's the one I predict to go. Probably a good reason why we're seeing shows on that spot. You can imagine it was clean, bang. So we need to get as close to that as humanly possible. Okay then guys, I really can't begin to explain how excited I am now I found that weed out there. Just literally dense weed, and a lot of the weed near where I was fishing on my normal spot has actually died back. So I don't know, I know they cleared a lot of snags along there at some point, and I think that was a show. So, but you've all been wondering what this method I'm going to talk about is. Something that I haven't tried here, and that is PVA bags. So got the nice Fox tidy stems, Fox inline lead, this one's a 3 ounce, and then just made, that was a show, that was a Far Bank show, and then just made myself some braided, oh, did you hear that? Come on, look up. Some braided hook lengths, rigs actually, when I was fishing over there. And what I've decided to do, which most people might not, is to put putty along there. So I'd say that's about 5 inches, and then I'm going to be fishing pop-up maggots with a few live maggots over the top. Now they're probably going to get obliterated by the roach that are in here. There's some big perch in it too, so it could be interesting. So that's the setup. I'm gonna get this dried off, and then we'll show you exactly what I'm gonna do with the bag. And this is gonna be an absolute first for me, nonetheless. So let me switch over and show you what we do with the bag. Okay guys, so bear with me. I've not done a PVA video before, I don't think, so this is cool. So you'll see here we've got the red maggots. I've burst a couple of them maggots, which is not ideal for PVAs, is it? And I've had to put garlic in here because I've sweated a bit as well, so this could go all terribly wrong, but at least you can laugh at me. And one thing you might laugh at me at, these are, gosh, I'm such a mess. Just get these out. Here we go. These are the Fox slow melts. Now, the reason I've gone slow melt is it's 15 foot of water out there, and a lot of people might go, geez, I wouldn't even attempt to do a PVA. And a lot of people here, and people I actually watch online, say don't use PVAs in that sort of depth. But now you're going to think I'm an absolute amateur, especially if you're just starting to watch me. And yeah, I'll take that if you want to call me that. But what I'm going to do, which might seem absolutely crazy to some, is double up my bag. Now, slow melt, it should be alright, but I don't want to take any chances. I want to make sure that my rig is nicely rested on the bottom before anything dispersed. That's the way I want to do it. And my thought process is, if the reason that dissolves quite quickly as it's going through the water column, is it breaks up and goes everywhere. I don't want that. I want a nice, neat, concealed pile. My logical thinking, whether it's logical or not, is that hopefully that outer layer, that first bag, will start degrading as we're going through, and hopefully give us enough time to sit there and then disperse. I mean, it might take a little while. I don't care really. I just want to make sure that, you know, everything is as effective as it can be in this deep water. So I don't know, it might seem stupid to some, but that's the only way I can think of trying to get around it. So what we got then? We've got my old DNAs, which I've started to smash up. I've got tons of boilies left, so I'm going to make a little bit of a crumb here to make, you know, a percentage of the bulk of the mix, a percentage of the bulk of what's in the bags. So I'm gonna smash it up. But like I say, I want the fish to feel that I'm not fishing for them. I don't want this to resemble fishing. I know it does, so you're going to call me an idiot there, but I want this to minimally resemble. Oh, that's going over. That's going to be hopefully the secret weapon there. Don't know if anyone's used it, but I'll show you in a second. So we're going to use crumb like that. You know, this has been soaked in amino acids, so it's going to have some lovely acids. So we're going to use that. I was thinking about using micro pellets, but in my opinion, that's not going to dissolve as, I don't know what the word is, mushy as 2mm pellets would. And I want to ensure that I've got a bit of attraction there. Talking of attraction, obviously we're going to add maggots in just to match the maggots that we're using on the hook. And because I think it's silty out there, and that's the reason why fish are showing, it certainly does feel silty up to that weed. Get this, guys, you might have used this already. I've not even heard of it. I went into my local tackle shop, Birds, and I said to the guy there, what an absolute legend he is, I always have a good laugh with him. I said, mate, I'm absolutely addicted to this. This is empty. Do anyone do like a smoke style bloodworm liquid? And let me just show you, I hope you can see this. He said, well, let me show you. CC Moore does this bloodworm compound which has bloodworm. And I tell you what, I was like, oh mate, you're a legend. You're an absolute legend. I think this, I don't know, I think this is going to be what gets the bite. I just got a good feeling. And the reason why I'm bringing this is so I can squeeze it in. This is empty. Squeeze a load out and then pierce the PVAs as you typically want to do. So, yeah, there's the plan of action. Simple, straightforward. Let's get them all out on just over 8 wraps over that weed line. Fingers crossed for a fish. Woohoo! Yeehaw! Angry. Get in. What an absolute incredible way to start a session. £36, 8 ounces. But look at that fish, well on its way to 40. What an absolute unit of an incredible fish. Well, I can go home now, right? No, I'm sure, having won this early, there'll be a couple more to come. You beauty. No more fish throughout the night, but as you can imagine, I was absolutely buzzing. Now, I want to show you this year's Signet and watch what he does for the camera. What a poser, right in front of the camera. And he was getting closer and closer. I thought he's going to knock that over. But of course, he's getting ready to leave mum and dad, isn't he? So he's getting them wings ready. Won't be long, I should imagine, until he's not on this lake anymore. Hey guys, it's midday on the sort of second day. Very quiet after that amazing fish. And do you know what? If nothing else happens, I'll be very happy. I just want to let you know what I'm doing. So I've got 2 on the bag still. Still at 8 wraps. Just fanned out to the right and to the left a little bit. The left one is more where we had the fish. But what I have noticed this time, and over the last few sessions, is a lot of the fish over the sort of 20-foot area of the lake, which is cheekily, and I wouldn't do this if anyone was turning up, and if anyone does turn up, I'll be reeling straight away. I generally don't do it, but I've set one up on a long distance lead, the old style rig, you know, the slip D, multi-combi, fluorocarbon rather than the boom. I know boom is fluorocarbon, but just trusty fluorocarbon because the pressure is high. It's like 1033. Wow, fish just showed in the middle there. It's been a weird session for shows, really weird. 1 minute it's absolutely dead, and it's not a time of the day sort of thing. It's 1 minute it's dead, next minute show, stop, completely stop. This is a bizarre lake anyway. I think there's a little bit of a rhyme and rhythm to it, but not massively. If you followed along, well, you might not know because I don't put timestamps on. Maybe I need to start doing that so people know what time I'm catching, all in aid to hopefully help you catch a little more. But it's a bizarre place anyway, in the fact it's not religiously bite time at certain times. Yeah, there's favourable times and there's favourable conditions, but I have still caught. I mean, you know, I've got one in the bag, an absolute belter of a, you know, on par size wise for the biggest I've caught here now, which is nice because when I first started here it was all small sort of doubles and a few low 20s, but so I'm really grateful that I've managed to get the average up anyway quite considerably. Had a good handful of 30s now, and I'm hoping that as we roll into autumn a bit more and even touching on the start of winter, even midwinter, late winter hopefully, you know, they'll still come. So I just want to touch on the basis of that middle rod which I've pinged out. It's probably 40 wraps. I've absolutely pelted a 3 ounce long distance lead, and like I say, just fishing single, so I've just got 4 small fake maggots on it, and I've used the trusty foam just to give myself a bit of confidence with presentation. And what I've done is dipped that in the bloodworm, and literally 10 minutes after, I've been dotting it around, casting every hour because I haven't been, you know, happy with where it's been. And this last cast just now, I was like, that's it. That's exactly where I've been seeing the fish show. Like I said, literally 10 minutes after, fish right over the top of it. and it wasn't it was a show which I sort of likened to, I'm looking to see who's there. And I believe they do that, my personal belief. So, fingers crossed. I did have a line bite in a similar area when I first cast it out, and I think looking at the fish, they're kind of in a line along this sort of, I don't know what they call it, sort of a 3 metre wide length of the lake, which I believe to be along the deep area. And it has been said that when it's high pressure, the fish do move into deeper water. Whether it can be true for this exactly, I'm not sure, because generally it is deep, the most waters, you know, I'm usually fishing 14, 15 foot here. I don't know, let's hope. I'm going to leave the 2 PVA bags. I have changed one about 11 this morning. I did do them at 3 this morning because I randomly woke up, and by the way, one of the rods, one had done me because the slip D was pulled right up, and stupidly just fell asleep. I've had this weird cold thing, not to go into my problems, but where I've just been knocked out every night, and I must have fell asleep about 9. Bit of a wind now as well, easterly wind pushing that far bank, so we're off the back of that, which might help. But fingers crossed, before we go home, we might see another fish. Well, what a quiet day. Shows have all but dried up, albeit I have had a nap for about an hour, so it might have been fish all over me. No, all joking aside, the pressure has continuously risen over the day. I've kept an eye on the weather when I can get signal in certain spots. It's tricky here. It's yeah, for phone signal, it's very tricky. But you know, it's just not much happening. I've kept an eye on the water for now 45 minutes. I don't think I've seen a single show. Okay guys, I've literally just done the exit video, so I've cut off the exit video, and the middle rod that I wanged out on maggots went off, and I've just caught my PB perch of £2.13. Look at that, bit discoloured, it's clear old water, but old warrior, isn't it? £2.13, officially my new PB perch. Look at that. We'll show. So it's high time for me to put the rods away and get a few chores done. But tomorrow is set for some wet weather. I hope that still remains the same, which obviously means the pressure is dropping, and that's usually the moment that bring the carps on. And as it's an absolute obsession of mine, I reckon I'll be turning up here in the dark after work. Oh gosh, but I want to keep showing you carp, you know. That's what you subscribe for, and that's what I want to give to you. So fingers crossed, perhaps we can see a couple more. It hasn't been a totally disappointing session. Catching that 36-pound carp, which is on par, the same weight as the biggest one you might have seen in an earlier session video. And what a cracking fish that was. But I always say to my mate Wes, I always rather them at the end, and to have that 1 hour in. And it's a long way for the next bite. I had a line bite today, and you know what, I'm very grateful to have that fish, because you know, a couple of sessions ago I didn't have a bite. So you've got to take a look at things and be grateful. And there's plenty of carp anglers, I'm sure you're aware, when you've gone, and there's plenty of carp anglers that go and blank the majority of the time. That was me a few years ago, but I'm so fortunate now that the blanks are few and far between. But that's all about honing your skills, and if you're a budding carp angler and you're going through them blanks, I will try and give you, I'm an open guy, I'll try and give you everything I can in my videos to help you catch more carp, because I believe in sharing information. So looking at the PVA tactics, has it worked? Well, obviously did, but has it worked significantly enough against the better boilies? That is a hard question, because we had a small comment last session's video on the better boilie approach, which is my usual approach here, you know, 3 on the spot, better boilies over, but they just haven't been showing here. And I don't know whether that's the wind pushing the wrong direction, that could have a big part to play on it, or whether it's me pitched up here basically, that the fish are like, nah mate, they know when you're there. And throughout last night and this early morning, they were over my old spot, the one I usually get on, so I'm like, yeah, okay. But nonetheless, had a cracking fish. I believe that might have been tripped up because the big ones are harder to trip up on the big bunch of maggots, which they're probably not used to seeing here. So yeah, we'll just have to keep trying. What am I going to do tomorrow? Well, let's think on the way home whether I'm going to go back to the boilie approach or stick with the PVA maggots. But what else is coming up? So my birthday this coming weekend, and I decided to book another day off during the week alongside my day off during the week to get down here 2 nights. And I think it's about time I give that big lake a real good go. Fished it once, had a 31 pound common, which is my British PB common, and the head of carp in there, although arguably not as good as this because there's more expansive water if you want to look at it per I don't know, per acre of water, or however you want to calculate it. You know, they're just typically 30 pound average, so you know, to smash another PB this year would be amazing. So yeah, I might have to give that a go 2 nights. I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, it's good that we got the bite on record. I always like that. I always like looking back and, you know, you get that feeling you're about to have a bite, like put the camera on record. And I did say, I'm sure you saw, like, put it in the universe. Kooky, I know. The very logical thinkers out there would think, oh, it's just a lot of you probably think I recorded it after, which if you want to think that way, fine, but I know I didn't. And I've done that a few occasions now where I'm like, it's gonna go. But right now, no matter what I put in the universe, there's not a fish showing. So what I am gonna put in the universe is I'm gonna stop recording, stop babbling on, say thank you very much for stopping by. And like I say, I hope for all you bud and carp anglers, you can try and use this during the autumn and winter, if they will work all year, I'm sure. And let's get packed up, let's hit the road, Jack. And for now, you stay sassy, carp anglers.